Welcome to the Football Show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, and I'm delighted to say that our guests tonight on this Wednesday evening, Alan Rough and Barry Ferguson, are with me to discuss all things European football and, of course, transfers in and out. Wee bit of rumour and speculation didn't hurt anybody, and we'll discuss some of the players possibly coming and going. Remember, the transfer window in Scotland goes all through the month of August, but over the next 24 hours, English clubs will be doing a fair bit of business. So, with that in mind, John McGinn is the hot property. Neil Lennon has revealed to Alan Rough that Aston Villa are in the box seat at the moment because they've had him down. They've been courting him down there at Villa Park. Steve Bruce has had dinner with John McGinn, trying to influence him to opt for the Championship rather than his boyhood heroes Celtic.
Yeah, the last time before I got here, he was actually having a medical. And when you have a medical, it means that things have moved on dramatically. Obviously, he's got to make a decision. It won't be the first time another club, once they see these things are happening, they try and move in. And I'm obviously talking about Celtic. It'll be interesting to see if they can move quick enough to speak to his agent and probably get to John McGinn before he makes a decision. Because I think if you get down to an English club, and you're impressed with what you see, their training ground, you know, the club, the history of the club, sometimes you can be persuaded, you know, but obviously Celtic is his first choice, but, you know, he's got a big decision to make.
I think this one could go down to the wire, Barry, if only for the fact that he's got a decision to make. Does he want the financial security, or does he want a chance to win something? And I'm going to be scathing here. I don't think he'll win anything with Aston Villa.
No, if you're asking me if I'm a betting man, I think if Celtic are matching Aston Villa's offer, I think there's only one club he's going to go to, and that's Celtic. He supported Celtic as a young kid, and when Celtic come calling, they're normally in the Champions League, they're fighting for titles, cups. So if I'm John McGinn, I'm thinking I would go for Celtic.
Yeah, great credit to Hibs. They've played this one cool and calm. You know, Celtic are well used to playing poker, but Hibs are well used to just flushing out other interested parties in this one.
Well, behind the scenes, obviously, we all know what goes on. You know, we're not privy to what's happening in the end of a telephone call. But you can be sure once John McGinn became available, there would have been teams phoning Hibs to say, right, what's the deal? They'll be waiting to see what kind of players they bring in. And obviously then they'll decide whether to go for him. The other question I would throw into the John McGinn camp is, where do you play him at Celtic? You know, where is the immediate replacement for? You know he likes Brown, you know he likes Cham, he likes McGregor in the middle. You know, he's got favourites there. You know, so John McGinn's got to make his mind up that he's going to be a starter. Yeah,
personally, I think there's room for him. I think he'll play 15, 20 games easily, minimum for me in that Celtic side, Barry, if only for the fact that now Brendan Rodgers, apart from obviously just getting a little bit agitated with the pace of Celtic trying to sign players, I think he's looking at players that can handle the Premiership in Scotland and the other ones that he can look towards for tried and trusted to get him to the group stages of the Champions League and possibly Europa League if they should drop down.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that John McGinn could handle playing with Celtic in front of 60,000 every single week. There's no doubt in my mind. And again, he's proved in Europe with Hibs in the Europa League this year that he can play in Europe. So I think Brendan Rodgers, look, the midfield, as Ruffy said, with Scott Brown and Cham, McGregor and Rogic, but he's wanting competition. So if you bring McGinn in, that's 5 guys going for 3 positions, and that's what you want at top clubs, and that's why Brendan Rodgers is desperate to get him to Celtic.
I'll tell you one thing, if you're a manager worth your salt, what you do is you make sure you've got friends at Manchester City. They seem to be loaning players right, left and centre. Ruffy, Hibs have got Thomas Agipong on loan from Man City, a tricky winger for them.
Yeah, I was beginning to read between the lines, like Brendan Rodgers, first of all, before I got to Hibs, that he was getting a wee bit annoyed that the people who are identifying the players for Man City are getting them. But anybody he's suggesting they're not happening, you know. So a wee feeling there that that's something that might have upset him. But that is a replacement for the boy Barker. Obviously, he showed us last year that he's got all the pace in the world, you know, and hard to deal with. And I think this boy's a similar player at Man City.
Okay, at the transfer window, players' decisions can change at any minute. We'll keep you up to date with that, not only on the Football Show, but of course across our bulletins on a daily basis. It's Celtic against AEK Athens tonight. Here's what the fans can look forward to. Tricky two legs. If there's ever a man that is ideally placed to speak about coming up against Greek opposition, it's you, Barry Ferguson. What do Celtic have to do tonight to make sure it's not a harum-scarum one in the return leg?
Well, certainly they need to win by 2 or 3 goals for me, and I think Celtic will do. I found with Greek teams, when I played against them, coming to Ibrox, I felt they were a different opposition to they were at home. I don't know what it was, but every time we played them, it seemed that they weren't great away from home. So I'm sure Celtic need to go out the first 10-15 minutes, put the pressure on them, and I think they'll get the 3 goals that's needed to go over there, because they'll be a different opposition, as I said, going over. They're a decent team. They won the championship last year, so they've got good quality in their squad. But I think Celtic at home, with the fans behind them and the quality that Celtic got, I think Celtic have too much for them.
Here's Brendan Rodgers, the Celtic manager. He's obviously done his homework on them.
We look at ourselves, and like I say, we look at them, and they certainly have that quality, like we do. So it's a real good test for both teams. And like I say, our first leg is at home. We've done all our work, all our preparation. We've analysed them closely, looked at all the details of the game, and like I say, very compact, very tight, difficult to play through, and like I say, get great speed in that transition side of the game. So it's a game where we're going to have to be patient. You know, the crowd will be very, very important for us. You know, because they really support us, and they've shown that real patience as well at this level over these last couple of seasons. So if we can get a win with a clean sheet, that would be a great result for us. But like I say, if we can win the game, take that into the second leg, then we'll be happy.
The necessity for a clean sheet. Just interestingly enough, just before I get Ruffy's thoughts on this, there's a real contrast between the home and away leg. You sampled that over there, which is why I think Brendan's emphasising the need to get a couple of goals of advantage. What was so different about playing them at Ibrox or playing a Greek side out there?
I don't know. Like, some of the stadiums we went to were like 40,000 fans, so they were used to playing in front of that. I don't know. It was a strange one. It just felt you were playing against 2 totally different teams. Because technically the Greek players are always good. You've seen with the national team, they've had success with the national team. But it was a strange one. It was we always felt comfy playing at home, and going away from home, you knew you were going into a totally different game. The atmosphere. Some of the atmosphere over there is intimidating, but that's what you want to play. If you're a footballer, that's the sort of atmospheres and stadiums you want to play in.
Yeah, I can remember actually commentating on Fenerbahce against Rangers, and the Fenerbahce fans were in 2.5 hours before the game kicked off, Ruffy. And when we were getting bussed in, we were only the press, and they were still battering the bus. So
we played a team called Park Salonika.
Yeah.
And that atmosphere was one of the most intimidating atmospheres I'd played in. There was we went out to do the warm up, and the fans were quiet, and we wondered why they were so quiet. And this baldy guy, about 20 stone, with a leather waistcoat, walks out with a big drum and just stood in the middle of the pitch and just banged it, and the fans just went crazy. And we weren't allowed to go near the touchline to warm up. We had to warm up in the middle of the pitch because they were obviously throwing bottles and whatever. But listen, that's again, as a player, you love playing in their kind of situations and their kind of stadiums.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, you haven't seen that baldy guy in 20 years. We've flown him in tonight for you. Just painted a brilliant picture there.
Got a baseball bat in this one.
Ruffy, yeah. It's intimidating, I'll tell you that. They're fanatical.
Yeah, well, I've never played at club level at these stadiums, but I've obviously played them at an international level. And Barry's right, they're hostile environments. You need to go there with something. You need to go with a comfortable zone where you get into the game, whether it's 2 goals. But if you were to go there 2-1 and you go into that environment, I've always said that about Hampden. If it was more, in and tight, it is when they're on top of you. You start doing things you're not used to doing. And that's what they've got to be aware of, because that's why it's important, as Brendan Rodgers said there. Don't concede. Seeing that last game against Rosenborg, if that had been 2-1, obviously Celtic got a late goal. But trying to go over and defend a 2-1 lead with losing the away goal, it's a hard shift.
As I said, you watch Celtic middle to front for me. They look so dangerous. You've seen it on Saturday. And I know people say it was only Livingston, but going forward, I looked at times they could score every single time. So, I think Celtic, listen, they're a good team, Athens, but I think Celtic will win comfortably. Just make sure the back door's shut. That's the main concern for Brendan Rodgers.
Prediction?
I'll go for 2 or 3-0.
I'm going to go 2-0.
Okay.
Well, I'll go 3-0.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what I like about you. Let's not have both of you copying each other. Listen, let's switch our attention then to other news that came out today. Of course, the red card for Alfredo Morelos against Aberdeen at the weekend. That was an appeal. It was rescinded. Stephen Gerrard says he reckons it was the right decision.
I mean, my chats with me players that I have between the four walls will always stay private. I've had a good conversation with Alfredo yesterday. The card's been rescinded, which we're very happy about. But that doesn't take away the fact that we believe we've dropped 2 points because of that decision. And you know, we hope that doesn't happen to all the clubs in the SPL again, where you suffer, to that magnitude by one decision that it makes you drop 2 points.
Was it the right call?
Yeah, but I think it was the right call to get it rescinded. For me, I just hope the player doesn't do that again. It was a silly mistake. I thought 10 minutes, Rangers looked really good. I know they had to change the way they played once he gets sent off. But I'm more than positive that if Rangers had 11 men on the park, it would have been a different result. So I just hope Morelos learns his lesson, because it was silly. As I says on Monday, Peter, it's one of the ones, you get barged all the time, people try and wind you up. Just wait to get him in a tackle, or when the ball's up in the air, maybe just leave a wee elbow on him. Don't be silly and kick out, because it puts the referee and the linesman in a position.
Yeah. Listen, Ruffy, you were wrong.
Yeah, you're so right, but I agreed with you. The case he's put forward, I just think it sets a precedent for the rest of the season. If you get barged off the ball, you can have a kick at somebody. And then I think the referees and the linesmen are the people who are going to get seriously miffed about it, because what's the point of them making decisions and putting in reports and then kicking somebody is okay?
Yeah. Well, it's not the message that it's okay. It's
well, it is if you're getting it rescinded.
No, it's not. What it is an interpretation of how violently he lashed out at him. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. He lashed out at him. Did he have contact that broke his leg, Ruffy?
No.
Was it vicious enough that merited a red card? The referee still has a small part in the game where he has to interpret. The assistant did the same, and they thought red card. Other people have looked at it now and said, no, that was possibly a wee word. One thing I think will happen, Ruffy, is Stephen Gerrard will go in a quiet room with Alfredo Morelos and say, listen, big games when it's all charged up. Calm your jets, don't get sucked into it, don't do it.
Peter, that's one of the things he's got to realise. That's what happens over here in British football. People are bumping into you all the time. They're trying to wind you up and get a reaction. The best reaction to do is stay on the park and score goals. Because I thought he started the first 10 minutes. The game before that in the Europa League, he looked really good. And he's carried that on to Saturday for the first 10 minutes. He looked sharp, working hard, and then he does something silly like that. Just let's hope that he's learned his lesson, and I'm sure that Stephen Gerrard said a word with him and says, listen, no more.
Before we talk, Ruffy, about Rangers against Maribor and obviously Hibs against Mulder, a couple of players that could be on their way out within the next 24 hours. One of them's made the move immediately, which is Greg Docherty's out on loan to Shrewsbury. Now, I'm not buying in to go away and get some game time. We've been talking about this already. That's quite simply Stephen Gerrard saying these are not the standard of players that Rangers should be buying. Yeah,
I thought it was a tremendous move for the young boy. I think we all saw what he did at Hamilton. I thought it was a massive leap to go into a Rangers first team.
I was going to say, did you think he was Rangers class at that time? No harm to the boy.
I don't think class is the word. I think it's just I don't think he was ready to play in that environment, of playing in front of 50,000 people. And obviously the way Rangers were at that particular time, not firing on all cylinders, and you throw him in and he's got to deal with it. And I think it was coming from Hamilton to Rangers, you're caught in the headlights, and then unfortunately it hasn't worked for him. And I think it's a good move for him to go away, because he does look as if he's got something about him.
Well, some players can make the jump if they've got the ability to do that. I didn't see and no harm to the boy. I mean, I raised an eyebrow when Rangers signed Greg Docherty, because I thought to myself, Greg Docherty is a player who showed great promise at Hamilton, but I thought he was the type of player that would then move on to, maybe a club mid-table, a Kilmarnock or something like that, before he moves on to 26, 27 and suddenly shows real promise that Rangers move in there, or any other club.
Yeah, I just think Rangers bought potential. What I would have liked to have seen with Greg Docherty is, if Rangers go and make the decision to go and sign him, why not just keep him at Hamilton and say, look, play there until the end of the season, see how you do. And if they don't think at that time he's ready again, then just loan him out, which they've done this time. But it's difficult coming from Hamilton, playing in front of 1,200 people, to go and have the pressures of playing under 52,000 fans. Yeah. It's a hard one for the boy. I feel for the boy. I just hope he goes away and he gets a number of games under his belt and he gets the experience, and then hopefully he can come back and maybe stake a claim to be in Steven Gerrard's squad.
Okay, it's Rangers against Maribor in the Europa League. This, yet again, another qualifier to try and get all the way to the group stages. Steven Gerrard knows all about Maribor.
I know quite a lot about Maribor. I watched both the games against Liverpool last season. Obviously they were in Liverpool's group, so I got a good chance to see them up close on a couple of occasions. I know they've made slight changes since then. We watched a couple of games on them yesterday as well. And I'll continue to watch them closely this evening as well, and then we'll be prepared for tomorrow night. But they're a good team. They've got a bit of Champions League experience. I'm sure they're feeling very confident. They got a big win at the weekend domestically as well, 5-2. So I think they come into Ibrox in a good place, in a good moment. So it'll be a difficult challenge for us.
This is a real step up.
I think it will be a hard one. I know Rangers have played. I played against them when I was at Rangers. I think it was 2011 the last time Rangers played them. They've got decent players, technically very good. So this is no easy game. Again, it's similar to what I says about Celtic. Rangers, I think, need to get 2 or 3 goals to make sure they're no safe, but they're going over to Slovenia with a decent enough result to maybe hang on to, because they're a good team. There's no doubt in my mind.
Ruffy, this is one of those hurdles. If you can somehow get over it, then again, it's all about momentum. It's building that confidence.
Yeah, I thought the game at the weekend against Aberdeen, there was evidence there that Rangers were going to kick on, and I think if they had 11 men they'd beat Aberdeen, then that would have given them the confidence to go into this game. But Maribor have got a good European experience, and even as we've seen at international level, the countries were very, very hard to beat with great, gifted technical players. So I would think it'll be a not hardish night for Rangers, but I think at home, if we could get a 2-0 lead, I think they'll go through. But they won't want a 1 each the way it was in the last round. That would be a tough one getting away from home. Yeah,
I think someone might have just been jumping the gun today, asking Steven Gerrard if he was thinking maybe of group stages for Rangers.
I think it'd be magnificent for everyone connected to the club, certainly for the fans to have the chance to have European football here for a lot longer than the qualifiers would be great. But I think the important thing is that we focus against Maribor and don't get too far ahead of ourselves. I think it's very dangerous when you start thinking too far down the line. So we'll have 2 very difficult tests against Maribor. We have a lot of respect for the manager and the team and the challenge in front of us. So for me, the message to the players is focus on Thursday night and let's try and get the right result there first.
Yep, I knew he was going to say that. Just one game at a time. It's an old cliche, but especially because he's at the embryonic stage. Give me a prediction on the first leg for him.
I think they'll win by a couple of goals. They need to win by a couple of goals. I think this Rangers team now is starting to settle in. They're starting to gel, starting to get to know each other. So I think they'll win by a couple of goals, hopefully.
Hopefully as well. I hope they win 2-0, but I think it'll be 2-1.
Okay, what about Hibs? Mulder, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's got his team there at Easter Road. This one, again, as far as Hibs are concerned, similar to Rangers, it's a step up this time, and they can't afford any slacking. No. They can't afford any goalkeeping blunders or any what I call Effie blunders.
Yeah, you're right. And in the evidence of the weekend, although they won 3-0, I thought Motherwell had at least 3 or 4 chances good chances to score, and if they give this team the same chances, I think they'll take them, and that's the difficult one. We saw that they can score goals. Just as you said there, I just hope they tighten up at the back and come away with maybe a 2-0 win.
Yep. How crucial is it to get Darren McGregor? He'll have a late fitness test. Canberry's back in, which is good.
Yeah, Canberry back in. He's showed in the European football he can score goals. I like McGregor at the back. I think he's got a lot of pace, a lot of recovery, and I think they need him in there.
Yeah, I think Hibs will win the game. Certainly it'll be a sellout. The fans are great through there. I think they'll win 2-1.
Okay, couple of little bits of news. I think the real body blow here for Aberdeen after the weekend is Scott McKenna. Ruffy, it looks as if it's 6 weeks now with a hamstring.
Yeah, I think there's a good and a bad bit of that. You know, obviously you're going to lose him, but it's quelled the transfer speculation if anybody was going to buy him, you know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it has, Ruffy. If only for the fact that Aberdeen signed Michael Devlin from Hamilton with an injury that kept him out for a year.
Yeah, but if it's only 6 weeks, I'm sure Derek will be happy that the phone's not ringing as much as what it was when he was playing and showing the form that these teams are bidding the money for him. Unless, obviously, Aberdeen want to take the money. You know, that's another question that only they can answer. But it is if that is the money they're talking about, you know, you couldn't refuse it.
My personal opinion on this, Barry, is Scott McKenna should stay at Aberdeen another year and develop. I still think he's raw.
100%. I still think there's a lot of learning to do for McKenna. I think he's got the potential to be a very, very good centre back. But I think if I'm him, I'm staying at Aberdeen another season, getting as many games under my belt, getting the experience because he's in the international squad now, and then next summer maybe think of moving on. I think the best thing for his career is to stay at Aberdeen. Yep,
there could be a fair bit of transfer activity over the next 24 hours. I think that's the one saving grace, Ruffy, just as we finish here, is quite simply, if any English clubs nip in, Scottish clubs still have the rest of the month to try and remedy the problems of losing key players.
Yeah, I'm sure the clubs, the manager, the clubs in Scotland will be, if they've got any dosh lying about, if they've got a budget that they haven't spent, they'll look at the situation once the window shuts down there, and there will be players on their list that they thought they maybe couldn't get with the window still open, but now they can go and get them.
Yep. Okay, we will keep you up to date with what's happening in the transfer window north and south of the border. Our daily bulletins at 12:30 and of course 5 o'clock, keeping you right up to date with all the daily stories and of course any players moving in and out. Let's not forget the live show on YouTube, PLZ Soccer YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and you can join us every day on the programme Talking Scottish Football. Thanks to Ruffy and Barry. Thanks for watching. Good night.